You might think that tossing your plastic bottle into the recycling bin is enough to save the planet. But here's a shocking fact: over 91% of plastic isn't recycled at all. Instead, it ends up in landfills, oceans, or worse, polluting our beautiful Earth. If that's not alarming enough, consider this: by 2050, there could be more plastic in the ocean than fish if we don't change our ways. It's time to face the truth: recycling alone won't fix the massive environmental problems we face today. In this video, we'll dive into the myths of recycling and explore smarter, more effective ways to live sustainably. You'll discover the hidden dangers of greenwashing, the benefits of supporting local businesses, and how smart technology can make your home eco-friendly. Get ready to rethink everything you thought you knew about being green. Let's break down the real steps we can take to truly protect our planet. Chapter 1: The Recycling Illusion. Why it's not enough recycling feels good, right? You toss that plastic bottle into the bin and pat yourself on the back. But here's a hard truth: only about 9% of plastic waste ever gets recycled globally, according to the OECD. Even worse, most of it ends up in landfills or the ocean. That's right, your well-meaning effort may not be doing as much good as you think. Most recycling systems are inefficient and costly. The process uses a lot of energy, and not everything you put in the recycling bin gets recycled. Some materials, like plastic, degrade in quality each time they're recycled, meaning they'll eventually end up as waste. That's not exactly a closed loop. Instead of relying solely on recycling, it's time to rethink our consumption habits. According to Annie Leonard, author of The Story of Stuff, you can't run a linear system on a finite planet. Her point? Recycling alone doesn't address the bigger issue: overconsumption. To really make a difference, we need to stop generating so much waste in the first place. That means reducing what we buy, reusing what we have, and only recycling as a last resort. Chapter 2: Ditch the fast consumer cycle. Embrace slow living. Let's talk about the elephant in the room: our addiction to fast consumption. We live in a world that pushes us to buy. Fast fashion is one of the biggest culprits, with the industry generating a staggering 92 million tons of textile waste each year. That's enough to fill a garbage truck every second. Slow living offers an antidote to this wasteful cycle. The idea is simple: consume less, and when you do buy, choose quality items that last longer. One powerful strategy is repairing instead of replacing. It might sound old-fashioned, but mending clothes or fixing appliances keeps them out of the landfill. Think about it: the average American throws away about 81 pounds of clothing per year, but most of that could be repaired or repurposed. By embracing a slower, more mindful approach to consumption, you're not just saving money, you're also saving the planet. And it's not just about what we buy. We need to slow down in all aspects of our lives. The slow food movement, for example, promotes eating locally and seasonally, which reduces the environmental impact of food production. When we start living with intention, we naturally reduce our waste and our carbon footprint. It's about making more conscious choices and resisting the urge to live on autopilot. Chapter 3: Zero waste isn't zero impact. Let's talk circular economy. The zero waste lifestyle is gaining popularity, and while it's a noble goal, it has its limits. Even zero waste advocates acknowledge that true zero is nearly impossible. That's where the circular economy comes in. Instead of focusing on minimizing waste, a circular economy designs products with their entire life cycle in mind. In a circular economy, products are created to be reused, repaired, and recycled endlessly. Think of it like this: in a linear economy, we take raw materials, make products, use them, and then throw them away. But in a circular economy, nothing is thrown away. Everything is reused in some way, either by being turned into something new or by being endlessly cycled back into the economy. The Ellen MacArthur Foundation, a leader in circular economy research, estimates that shifting to a circular economy in key sectors like food, textiles, and construction could reduce global carbon emissions by 45% by 2050. That's a massive reduction. But this shift requires us to move beyond just recycling. For example, companies like Patagonia have embraced circular economy principles by creating repair programs for their products. Instead of encouraging consumers to toss a worn jacket, they offer ways to fix it. This keeps products in use longer and reduces waste. If more companies adopted this model, we'd see less waste overall, and the environmental impact of our consumption habits would shrink. It's about changing the system, not just tweaking it. Before we move on to the next chapter, if you're enjoying this content, please subscribe. This way, you won't miss any of our upcoming tips on sustainable living. Chapter 4: The Dark Side of Eco-Products. Greenwashing exposed. We've all been there, excitedly buying an eco-friendly product, thinking we've made a smart, green choice. But how many times have we fallen for marketing hype rather than real sustainability? Enter greenwashing, a sneaky tactic where companies make misleading claims about the environmental benefits of their products. According to TerraChoice, over 95% of products that claim to be green contain some form of false or misleading environmental claims. Take a product labeled biodegradable. Sounds great, right? But the truth is, many biodegradable items only break down under specific industrial conditions that most landfills can't provide. So, they end up sitting there for years, just like regular plastic. The World Wildlife Fund, WWF, calls this false comfort, and warns that such claims can make us feel better without changing the core problem, our wasteful habits. A great strategy is to do your homework before buying into the eco-hype. Look for certifications like Cradle to Cradle, which ensures products are designed with sustainability in mind from start to finish. Avoid vague terms like natural or green, unless they're backed by third-party certifications. One standout quote from Elizabeth L. Klein's The Conscious Closet reminds us, sustainable fashion is not a product, it's a practice. The same holds true for everything we buy. The focus should be on using less, not just buying better products. This mindset shift takes us from being passive consumers to more mindful ones. Chapter 5: Cut carbon at the root. Localize your life. Did you know the food on your plate may have traveled an average of 1,500 miles before it reached you? That's a lot of carbon emissions just to get dinner on the table. One of the most impactful ways to reduce your carbon footprint is to localize your life, specifically when it comes to food, products, and even services. Buying local isn't just a trendy farmer's market idea, it's a powerful way to cut down on transportation emissions. According to a study from the Center for Sustainable Systems, local food systems use up to 17 times less fuel than conventional food distribution systems. That means fewer emissions, fresher produce, and a stronger local economy. Supporting local isn't just about food, though. It applies to everything from clothing to home goods. When you buy from local makers and artisans, you're reducing the demand for mass-produced, often unsustainable products shipped from halfway across the world. Plus, shopping locally supports small businesses, which helps build more resilient communities. You can take this strategy a step further by joining a community-supported agriculture (CSA) program or starting a garden of your own. Not only will you get the freshest food possible, but you'll also be actively cutting down on food miles and packaging waste. It's a win-win for you and the planet. Thanks for sticking with us through these chapters. If you found this content helpful, please subscribe to our channel. Stay tuned for more tips on living sustainably and making a real impact.